All right, so we are going to start this. I am going to be reverse searing a couple of tomahawk steaks on the pit barrel. So we'll start this. I got my pit barrel charcoal started here, about 20. Let's go ahead and pour that on the top. You're going to my grill grate here. Side. All right, that charcoal started there. So I've had this pit barrel about 10 years. Moved it a few places all over the world, and it's been great. I've always been a big fan. One thing I've always struggled with is a little bit of the air. I know people say that you just turn it down, but I've always had to use a bit of tin foil to get the right temperature. I do have a thermometer in here that I'll connect in a second that reads the internal temperature, and then I'll put a probe in each of the steaks itself. So this doesn't get too hot. I'm gonna go ahead and put the lid on while I go get my steaks. All right, here's my 2 dry aged tomahawk steaks. I just let these dry age in the fridge for a few days to get all the moisture off. There's a touch of olive oil on there, salt and pepper, and then I've got my hook placement here on the top. So I've got my trusty Weber eye grill. I've had this forever. It's great. I like it because it has a nice long Bluetooth connection with my phone, and I can wander off for a beer and still be able to track my cooking. Get going. A little bit of fortification. All right, we're about 272 right now. And again, we're gonna right in there. Make sure my temperature gauge is not right on the steak. And there's that. And then I'll go ahead and put my probes in so I can track this. Right in the thick of it there. And these are about 2 inches thick. That's going to take a while to get that brought up to temperature. Right now, I can see that even though these have been sitting out for about 6 hours to come to room temperature, they're still about 60 degrees, which makes sense. We're in Anchorage, Alaska. It's about 60 degrees out, so they're up to outside temperature, and we'll see about how long it takes to get up to that 105, 110. So let's see if I can show this. This is on my temperature probe there, and you can see that the barbecue itself, or the smoker, is about 258. This is coming up a little bit. I'd like to be that about 275, 300 degrees, and then both of my steaks, 60 and 55 degrees. As anybody who's smoked or grilled or anything before, you know that 2 pieces of meat who look exactly the same never cook at the same temperature and the same rate of speed. So having something like this to keep track is invaluable. So I've still got a long way to go on bringing the tomahawks up to temperature here, but I've got my searing pan set up. So because we're going to bring these up to temperature slowly inside the smoker, we don't have to let it rest like you normally would a steak. So I'll be able to take those and put them right into my searing pan. I've got a little Iwatani cooker here. It's great. This is the wife's paella pan, which also works great for large steaks with cast iron. And once that comes up to temperature, about 5-10 degrees before it's at that final temperature, I'll turn this on and let this get blisteringly hot. And I'll have some butter with some garlic and a little bit of rosemary from down here in the garden ready. And we'll go ahead and sear that with some butter and be able to baste with this pan as well. So one of the things I was talking about happened. You can see I've got the 2 probes in. My grill's at about 300, and I'm at 72 in one steak and 102 in another steak. So I obviously want these to come out about the same time. I did check it with another thermometer. It actually is that temperature. One steak is just cooking a lot slower than the other. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and just pull the steak that's getting close. I'll stick it under the tin foil, and then once this reaches a similar temperature, I'll put it back on so they come off of the smoker at about the same time. So I'm about 10 degrees out now from my ideal temperature from my steaks that I put in the smoker. So I'm going to go ahead and start warming up my pan. This is going to take a while to heat this up. If we put this in the oven to heat up, we put it in there for 30-45 minutes. I like to get this going for about 10-15 minutes to really get smoking. And it'll be fine. It's going to look nasty. It's going to smoke a bit. I had set that other steak in there that was cooking a little bit slowly, but it'll be fine. All right, so our steaks are up at the temperature we want. I'm going to go ahead and pull these. And our pan is nice and hot. You can see that these always have a lovely smoked look to them. I'm going to go ahead and stick them in here, and we're just going to sear the crap out of these. Over. And put the butter in there. Now the steaks going in here, these are, 120 degrees. It's going to cool your pan down pretty quick. And the butter's going to cool it down even more. We want to get that first bit of sear on there before we put the butter in. And I'm also going to go ahead and put some garlic in here on each of these. Alright. And I've got a bit of rosemary. And then I'm going to take that and flip it right over on top of that garlic and rosemary. Same thing here. Go ahead and baste that steak through that butter a bit. And here. You can't smell that, but it smells amazing. I can go ahead and turn my heat off now. And it's going to cool off slowly. And I can really, honestly, I could serve these like this. This is large enough, and take them out. It'll keep them warm for a little bit. If you need to serve this and put it on the table, the meat's thick enough that it's not going to do too much damage to this. I'm going to go ahead and pull these. We're going to put them onto a grill and then griddle, and then take them upstairs, and we'll go ahead and serve these. And that is how you reverse sear using a pit barrel smoker.